Are you ready, Celtics Nation? Big moves are happening in the East, and it's time to talk about how these trades are shaking up the playoff picture. With a key player now donning a new jersey, what does this mean for our beloved Celtics and their quest for banner number 18? Stick around as we break down the impact of this blockbuster deal and what it could mean for Boston's title aspirations. If you want to stay in the loop, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a like. The Milwaukee Bucks have made a significant move by trading Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma. And as a passionate Boston Celtics fan, I can't help but analyze how this could impact our beloved team. While Kuzma has had his ups and downs this season, it's essential to look at how he fits into the Bucks' win-now mentality. With Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard leading the charge, the Bucks are clearly looking to enhance their roster. But does acquiring Kuzma really change the landscape of the Eastern Conference? Kuzma has shown flashes of brilliance, especially during his time with the Lakers when he was a crucial piece in their championship run. However, his efficiency has been a concern this season, and that's something he'll need to address if he hopes to thrive in Milwaukee. The Bucks are not in a position to allow room for growing pains. They need contributions now. So, will Kuzma rise to the occasion? Honestly, I'm torn. On one hand, he has the potential to be a solid role player, but on the other, his recent performance raises questions. From the Celtics' perspective, we need to consider how this trade impacts our playoff aspirations. The Bucks are sitting at 5th place in the East, and while they're trying to bolster their lineup, their recent inconsistency makes them vulnerable. If Kuzma can channel that championship mentality he had in Los Angeles, he could indeed be a threat. But what if he struggles to adapt? That's a scenario I think we should keep an eye on. What if he doesn't mesh well with the likes of Giannis and Lillard? The chemistry is vital, and it's not guaranteed. Meanwhile, the Wizards are clearly in rebuild mode, snagging some intriguing assets in this deal. They're bringing in A.J. Johnson and a first-round pick swap, which could be valuable for their future. But for us Celtics fans, it's important to recognize that the Wizards' moves might not matter much in the immediate future of the Eastern Conference. They're not a playoff threat, and that's a win for us. Let's talk about that second apron. The Bucks are now under. This trade gives them some flexibility moving forward, and that's something I'm not overly thrilled about. The Bucks are still trying to keep their championship window open, and flexibility in trades could lead to them making further moves that strengthen their roster. We know that the NBA landscape can shift quickly, and we can't afford to be complacent. Now, back to Kuzma. If he can find a way to be effective alongside their star players, the Bucks could be a formidable opponent come playoff time. But I have my doubts about his efficiency, which has been a glaring issue. He has to shoot better, or else he risks becoming a liability when the games matter most. And let's be honest, there's a lot of pressure on him to succeed in this new environment. As a Celtics fan, I want to believe that the Bucks' gamble on Kuzma won't pay off. However, I also recognize that he's capable of turning things around. If he can embrace his role and play within the team's structure, that could make for a more competitive Bucks team. But again, it's a gamble, and one that could either propel them forward or leave them regretting the decision to move on from Middleton. Looking ahead, I can't help but think about what this means for our own ambitions. The Celtics have their own strengths and weaknesses, and while the Bucks are trying to reconfigure their lineup, we need to focus on solidifying our own roster. It's a constant back and forth in the Eastern Conference, and every move counts. The trade deadline is looming, and as a passionate Boston Celtics fan, I find myself on the edge of my seat, eager to see what President of Basketball Operations Brad Stevens has in store. While we might not be talking about a blockbuster deal, like Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis, recent history tells us that Stevens is always looking to tweak this talented roster. We know he's been active every year since taking on his current role, and I can't help but wonder what moves are on the horizon ahead of the 3 p.m. ET deadline on Thursday. Last season, we saw some strategic shifts with trades that brought in Jaden Springer and Xavier Tillman, and the year before, Derek White was a key addition. It's clear that Stevens has an eye for enhancing the depth of the team, which is crucial as we gear up for what we hope is another long playoff run. But here's the kicker. The Celtics are currently above the second apron of the NBA's luxury tax. This complicates things significantly. It means no aggregating contracts and trades and no cash being sent out. Simply put, significant moves may be few and far between unless one of our core players is moved, and honestly, I don't see that happening. So, while it's unlikely we'll see any seismic shifts, It's not out of the question for Stevens to look at the back end of the bench. There's still that open 15-man roster spot, and the potential to add a player without needing to part ways with anyone currently on the team is intriguing. One name that's been buzzing around is Springer, who has shown flashes of brilliance lately. He's young and affordable, and trading him could be an easy way to bring in a veteran presence. But what does that mean for our depth? I'm honestly torn here. Springer has been a game-changer in crucial moments. With reports that Springer has been traded to the Houston Rockets along with a 2030 second-round pick, I can't help but feel a mix of emotions. It's a cost-cutting move, sure, but at what cost to our future? Springer had been rising in prominence, and while it's easy to rationalize the trade, it does leave a hole that needs to be filled. Then there's Tillman, who's been somewhat of an afterthought this season. If Boston is aiming to add depth, he might be moved as well, especially considering the potential to pick up someone like Torrey Craig, who was recently waived. What do we need right now? Frankly, it's hard to pinpoint. When healthy, this team is a powerhouse. However, injuries have plagued us this season, and we've seen less of our preferred rotation than we'd like. Adding a reliable wing or a spark off the bench could be vital, especially to take some pressure off Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. There's been talk of familiar faces like Javonte Green or even Guerschon Yabusele coming back into the fold. They could add some much-needed depth, but are they the right fit? If Stevens has his eyes on a higher target, a player like Walker Kessler from the Jazz could be a game-changer. But let's be real, that would require a significant investment in draft capital, and that's a big gamble. As a fan, I want to see us make the right moves to bolster this roster, but I also fear losing valuable pieces in the process. So here we are, at a pivotal moment. The trade deadline is almost here, and I can't help but wonder how these decisions will shape our future. Will we see a move that solidifies our playoff hopes, or are we simply making minor adjustments to get by? The stakes are high, and every decision carries the weight of our championship aspirations. And you, what do you think? I want to hear your opinions down below. Do you believe this is the right path, or should we be aiming higher? Join the debate in the comments, and let's see where we all stand as we navigate this crucial moment for our beloved Celtics. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with all the latest news and insights. And remember to activate the notification bell to get all the latest updates.